Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. I don't know why I'm smiling. I
I don't
don't
know
know
why
why
you're smiling either, mate.
2 hours of rubbish on the radio as I drive down to London. Dean, how are you doing, mate? Welcome to the show, All the Chasers as well.
Yeah, I'm good. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on a rare Sunday show, as British 87 puts it. Yeah, we're not around tomorrow because G is on his way to foreign shores. So we've jumped on to make sure we all get our fix of chasing green arrows. And we've obviously just seen Chelsea, the billionaire boys, lose to Klopp's kids at Wembley. Well, look, Chelsea shouldn't have been in the game, to be honest. I mean, the first 15 minutes, if Liverpool had scored in the first 15 minutes, that game would have ended up 4-0. But Chelsea did have a chance, and they came back into it. And the game was there for you in the 90. Extra time, Chelsea were pathetic, perhaps. And in the end, ruling out Van Dijk's normal time header was a complete waste of time because he just replicated it. Chelsea was so vulnerable on every set piece, so vulnerable. Like it was just a matter of time, and they've obviously done it right at the death. So Nuclear says Gianni sure needs a holiday after that shower of nonsense from Chelsea. I don't know if it was nonsense. I mean, I don't know what people expecting from Chelsea. I mean, you competed in a game. I know you played Liverpool's reserves, but you should have won it. You know, got opportunities to win it there.
Rubbish. I tell you what, Gary Neville can do one. He had that line. Like, what was he just saying in the last minute of commentary? The billionaire bottle jobs. Look at your own club, mate. If you want to speak about billionaire bottle jobs, we'll speak more about Man United later. But Gary Neville's not well placed. And for you to be celebrating Chelsea's loss like that, knowing it's Liverpool lifting the trophy, shame on you, Gary. Shame on you. You just got caught up in the hype, sat next to your boy, Jamie Carragher. Anyway. It sounds right when you listen to a game on the radio, which sometimes, by the way, I really enjoy. Like I very rarely would I ever choose, if ever, to listen to a game on the radio over watching on TV. Of course, you rather see the pictures, but at times I will plan long drives around football games when I know that day I've got to do it. I'm like, yeah, that'll be a good listen for 2 hours. That'll entertain me on the drive. So yeah, I lined this one up. I lined the final up because I knew I had to travel down, and it sounded like, yeah, you're right. Shocking start to the game. But that second half, I'd be interested to see the XG. It sounded like Chelsea had way more chances to win it, like big chances missed, hitting the woodwork. Gallagher sounds like he missed a few. Palmer, just a bad sort of, I don't know, lack of cutting edge, and that's been typical of Chelsea's season. We're one of the biggest underperformers of XG going this season under Poch.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, both teams had chances throughout the game, and there was that mad moment of which you wouldn't have probably seen yet when Chelsea had 3 chances and 1, and the ball somehow ends up in Kelleher's hands. I mean, Kelleher had a pretty good game, to be fair, but when that didn't end up in the net, you're like, what are they going to have to do this? Would you have won? Would you have had hope on pens? Do you think you'd have won the shootout? Do you think with the players that were left?
Yeah. They also took off McAllister. When they took McAllister off, I was like, that's a penalty taker off.
Mate, his legs
go off in the same sub. I was like, another penalty taker off.
Yeah. McAllister wouldn't have been able to kick the ball by a penalty shootout. He was absolutely shot to pieces, yeah. But yeah, it was an interesting game. Finally, a CJ's team where Dean is flying high with joy and Gianni on the receiving end. Yeah, Fulham beating Man United and Chelsea losing a cup final is a dream weekend for any Fulham fan. But it's Liverpool, so I don't particularly like Liverpool. So there's only a certain high I can get off this. And it was a weird one because a lot of my mates were at the final, and like all day long I was getting pictures of them in the pub, and like, well, you obviously do like to rub it in the faces of your mates when they lose. Like, it's part of you that wants them to have a good day out. It is there somewhere. They are my best mates, but yeah, whatever. They didn't have a good time in the end, did they? Oh well. I mean, you didn't think, 3 weeks ago you thought you'd have lost this final 4-0, so you only lost it 1-0 in extra time. I don't know really what this means for this team, because you won't get a better chance to win a cup final than that. I think it's a bad.
Thomas Tuchel come back, Dean, because I'm already starting to think, like, both for Man United and Chelsea, big changes potentially in the summer. And Thomas Tuchel, there's Chelsea fans out there That'd take him back in a heartbeat, mate.
I think the fallout was too bad, wasn't it? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was, and it was unfortunately with these owners. But
yeah, there's no way back with that ownership, I don't think, mate.
No.
But yeah, it's an interesting one. Let's talk some FPL.
I look like I'm in a strip club.
A little bit, yeah. What sort of hotel is this? Glow.
I'm in Slough, mate. I'm in Slough.
That is the look of Slough right there. We'll leave it at that.
I just saw someone in the chat who's not one of our regulars, Cello.
Yeah.
He wanted to vice captain Saka, but instead of putting the vice captaincy on him, he captained him. Fair play. Like, you take that win, don't you?
That would be a great moment, wouldn't it? Did you watch Man City against Bournemouth?
Yeah, I did.
What do you make of it? What do you make of Haaland?
He storming down the tunnel when he got subbed, getting subbed. Like, we see Alvarez come off. We don't see Alvarez come off the bench. When Alvarez does come off the bench, like in a cup competition or whatever, he often would come on alongside Haaland. So to go and like play number 9, like Alvarez never plays number 9. It was really interesting. I just wonder now, going into game week 27, if we're going to go, actually, I know it's Manchester Derby and United are poor, but there's players like Saka and Watkins with good fixtures. You might go, I'm not captaining Haaland this week. I also thought that De Bruyne sub was weird.
Yeah, I mean,
so
De Bruyne looked leggy.
He looks heavy as well.
He looked heavy, didn't he? I thought that. I was like,
yeah, I thought you were going to say heavy, and we were both thinking the same thing.
He was slow, is what I meant. Yeah, but it's because he obviously can't have got fat in the last few weeks. Like, that's not how it works in life at Man City. And if they do, you get the Calvin Phillips treatment. And Pep says, well, he's not fit, is he? Mr. T says, oi, I'm from Slough. Oh, gee, you're in trouble here, mate. Take it up with Gianni. But yeah, De Bruyne didn't look great. And I have to say, I was looking at him. Well, I was going to say running around the pitch, but he wasn't running around the pitch. I don't know if I want De Bruyne anymore. I'm going to keep him because I assume against Man United, look, De Bruyne and Haaland against that Man United team are going to have a field day. And
does De Bruyne start though? What if he starts that week? If he starts against Luton on Tuesday night or whenever it is in the FA Cup, I'm going to be like, he's not going to start 2 games in 4 or 5 days.
Why would he start him in that game? I'd just leave him now for the Manchester Derby. I'd be like, right, get yourself in for that one.
Give him half an hour against Luton, and then maybe I keep him. If he starts or plays 90 versus Luton, I think I'm going to sell him.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I mean, Haaland, I think selling Haaland will still be nuts, especially for a Manchester. You know that he hates. Well, you see the behaviour of him when things aren't going for him. He takes it out on anyone and everyone. He takes it personally, and he'll want to take that anger out on Man United at home next Sunday. And we could be sitting a week from now, looking back on one of those afternoons when City have absolutely smashed them. It's definitely feasible. Look, I'll be honest, like, I've watched obviously every Fulham game this season, and that was definitely one of our easiest games of the season. We should have won that game 3 or 4. Like, that, we had so many chances. It was unbelievable. I looked at the stats after.
Without Paulinho as well. Without your boy.
Without Willian. No one's pointing this out. Without Willian. Willian's our best attacker. Yeah. So without Willian and Paulinho, literally our 2 best players, we've gone to Old Trafford and we've carved open 4 good chances to score. I see Ten Hag saying afterwards he felt like they should have won. I mean, absolutely not. Abby has sent in a super chat. I own Haaland, Watkins. By the way, thank you. I own Haaland, Watkins, and Tony. Sell Haaland for Solanke. Next 4 or 5 don't look appealing. I guess this is what we're talking about now. Would you advise Abby to sell Haaland for Solanke? I mean, I understand the head conflict that would be going on right there, but it's a big call.
I would wait a week. Give yourself another week. Give Haaland another week, because it's a good fixture for Haaland, and he will start the Manchester Derby. Solanke does have a really nice 27 fixture. You could sell Tony to Solanke, but likewise, we're all going to want Solanke in 28. Do you need Solanke in 27? No, it would be favourable, but you can probably go without. In 28, we're all going to captain Solanke. He's got a double game week versus Sheffield United and Luton at home. So you could sell Haaland that week because he's got Liverpool away followed by a blank, or you sell Tony, who does have fixtures in 29 and 30. It depends on your chip strategy. If you're looking to free hit in 30, you maybe don't need Tony. But yeah, Solanke in is a must.
Yeah, I'm going to get onto Neil's point in a minute. I just want to say we just did a vote. Will you sell Haaland? 99 votes. No. 71% said no. So yeah, most people going as you would expect. Of course, love the CGA streams. Like and sub reminder. Thank you, of course, for your £2. Really appreciate that. And the reminder for everybody to like and subscribe to Chasing Green Arrows. We're flying at the moment, mate. I mean, I feel like we're getting a lot of lives. Our subscriptions have gone up a little bit in the last few weeks. It feels like we're in a bit of a rhythm at the moment, and it feels like, especially now we've axed the Chasers team for the time being, people are enjoying having their questions answered as well. So get your questions in. I promise you, we'll get through loads today because we're doing a pretty unstructured show.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Good to see Neil Robertson's in the chat. He said this was an audition for Poch, and we should yeah, it was. He did fail miserably. Neil, what do you think? I don't know if you heard at the start of the show, I mentioned Tuchel. Dean's right. Bridges have been burnt there probably, but I think there's Chelsea fans that would go, Tuchel back, definitely.
Mate, there's one place you lot are turning. Where does Chelsea turn every single time they need to do something? Brighton.
You reckon?
Mate, whether it's a cleaner, whether it's a player,
with Potter though,
whether it's an admin, Potter, they go back there and get De Zerbi. Why not? I just can't. Like this is what Chelsea want to be Brighton and Hove Albion. They don't want to win trophies anymore. They just want
I love De Zerbi, but I don't know if I want him.
I'm joking.
Oh, I mean, mate, the fact the biggest robbery in football is Chelsea spending 63 million or whatever it was on Cucurella. Like genuine, like they then bought Estupinan for 10, who's way better. Who, by the way, can't get a game at the moment. He's in my team. Yeah, Cucurella for 60 plus. I just think Cucurella couldn't look more like a bottom half or maybe even a very good championship player. Like if anyone's at his depth at Chelsea, it's Cucurella. Bless him. He's a lovely bloke by all accounts, but he's not one for Chelsea.
Oh mate, it's a killer.
We clearly love Brighton.
They definitely are in that headspace. If you're just joining us, we are just jumping on a Sunday evening for for a reaction chat. I've got Twitter open right now. I know, obviously, in my job, through the years, I've ended up following a lot of Chelsea accounts and stuff, and they really are losing their heads. One guy just saying, pathetic bottle jobs. Manager's plan of sitting off all of extra time in hopes of scabbing a penalty shootout was hideous. They completely bottled this. Weak minds, weak game plan. I think people have lost sight. Chelsea aren't that good. Like you've only been good about 4 times this season. Hey,
Liverpool had 4 kids on the pitch. Chelsea have to beat that.
Yeah, but why do you think Chelsea are going to beat that? Chelsea aren't that good. Like you haven't got anything about you.
That Liverpool team that finished that game also wasn't very good. It was Van Dijk Diaz plus 9.
But why? I guess it's not about quality. Where's this trust come from that Chelsea were ever going to deliver when it was needed? And they had moments like Conor Gallagher. To be honest, I actually thought Conor Gallagher had a good game, and he saved you a couple of times. To be fair, he gets around that pitch. Actually, when you took him off, I was like, I'm not sure.
He's an absolute workhorse. I like Gallagher, but again, he's limited. Is he going to win us titles? No. Like, the talent's not there for Gallagher in terms of like on the ball talent.
Yeah, but also, look, it comes down to to the marking at set pieces. I mean, Sky called it up early on in the game when Liverpool was swinging him into the far post, and at the back stick it was basically Konaté and Van Dijk, and it was a mismatch. I can't remember who was marking them, Chilwell and I don't know. I'll say Gusto. I don't know if it was, but there was a mismatch, and you could see that. And then that was replicated 5-6 times throughout the game when Chelsea always looks like they wouldn't quite be able to compete for that ball. And it does feel right that is how Liverpool ended up winning this game across from a corner, not a free kick, can't even remember. Corner, and then Van Dijk flicks it in, getting in front of Mudryk of all people.
Mate, that's not where Van Dijk ever runs either. I never see Van Dijk doing near post Drogba headers. Clearly it was just like
our post. Yeah, it's a big moment in Liverpool's season because I don't think Liverpool are going to win a quadruple, but this was a trophy they definitely could have seen pass them by, given the team they had out. Mark Nash says men against boys, and the boys won.
Yeah.
Repent says, but Chelsea have got £100 million plus worth of midfielders. Yep, absolutely. How is Caicedo worth £115 million? Don't think he is personally. British, how did Caicedo escape the yellow?
Oh, Endo.
Hey. Yeah, Endo is better. Neil says Liverpool had 5 teenagers on the pitch in extra time, and we just let them play. I didn't know Neil was a Chelsea fan, but
yeah, his mates with John Terry.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to chat to JT later. I'll be in a good mood. Yeah, TSL says, if you fancy a giggle, look at Gary Neville comments about extra time being Liverpool kids versus Chelsea £1 billion bottle jobs. I mean, the thing is, like, that will be a theme. And when you spend £1 billion on a team and you can't win the Carabao Cup against a team of teenagers, that's a problem. And who's going to pay the price for it? And will they... This ownership is not known so far for letting things just go. You know, Graham Potter, they set out with these great intentions to let him carry on managing the team for 5 years or whatever they said they were going to do. And then it got to the crunch and they were like, we can't carry on like this. We'll be in like League One. So he was gone. Pochettino did look a little bit like a lost puppy at the end. Like, it was like, oh my God, we actually, he was kind of stunned. It was like, oh,
I turned it off at the final whistle.
Oh, that didn't work out. It was like, yeah, mate, that didn't work out for you. Keep your comments coming in. We don't have to talk about.
Poch is out his depth. Poch is out his, like, I do feel.
Has he turned Chelsea into Spurs?
Mate, I think he turned PSG into Spurs. Like,
Does everything become Spursy if he's around?
Honestly, like, I had a tweet lined up today to be like, if we had won, I won't say what it was, but it was something to do with length of time at a club, and come to Chelsea and you win stuff. But I've decided, mate, I think I might start supporting Arsenal. Like, can that work for me? Like, Jorginho is my favourite player. In the past, I've got free Arsenal tickets. I've got work on the Arsenal YouTube channel. Havertz is there, another one of my boys. Closest to my house, they're in North London.
It's a story in itself. If a Chelsea lifelong fan is going to switch his allegiance to Arsenal, then good luck to you.
They're good at set pieces.
On your Twitter, they are. Sigurd says Van Dijk has scored at least 3 headers going in front of defenders. So there you go.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Like, I'm not saying Van Dijk's never scored a front near post header, but Van Dijk's normal position isn't there. Van Dijk, I'm sure Van Dijk's normal position is central. Like, he's not, and you often see Van Dijk headers bang, like, almost ball back where it comes from, not Drogba style near post. But yeah, it was just like Van Dijk had free reign in that penalty box. He could do what he wants. Yeah,
British says, come to the Gooner gang, Gianni. CH has got a good question. It's actually related to FPL, which we should probably talk about, seeing as we're 20 minutes into the show. CH says, who got more than 10 points in their back line this game week? And I was like, pretty sure I didn't. Let me just go and look. I got 3 points.
I reckon I got
4 players.
I got 1 from Estupinan, 1 from Taylor, and then I think I got 2 from Gabriel. But I was delighted to see the Arsenal clean sheet wipeout because so many have Gabriel Saliba or Gabriel Raya.
I wasn't, mate. Oh, yeah. Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I thought I had that. I'd actually turned the game off before that point. I looked back and I was like, oh, no, they scored. I don't get my Gabriel points. But yeah, I guess I would have lost out if people had the combo, which I haven't got. That's a good point. I was mainly gutted at Kyle Walker, to be honest. Like, I had 3 Man City players playing against Bournemouth. Only one of them actually played, and he got subbed. It wasn't a good day. Sigurd got 10. Well done, mate. TSL had Ait Nouri, so he got 12 points off just 1 player.
Oh, don't, because Ait Nouri was my top differential pick defender this week in my Gimme Sport article. I went Ait Nouri and Leon Bailey, and both went massive, and I didn't get either of them. So that paint is certainly right.
Look at this comment from Neil Robertson. Just spoken to an ex-player. I won't name names. Needed to take the game to their kids in extra time and didn't. Yeah, I had no idea you're talking about. I'd probably someone from the 80s or something. But yeah, I can believe that would have been the outlook on that one. And it was just bizarre. I was actually bored in extra time a bit, to be honest. And I was just like, sitting there in the first half of extra time thinking, I wish the Carabao Cup just went straight to penalties. I wish we didn't have to sit through this, because nobody wants to lose. And my wife actually said to me, why don't they just play like the first one to score wins? I was like, well, funny you should say that. There was this thing called the golden goal. And actually what happened is nobody would actually attack.
Euro 2020, Euro 2000, France.
Yeah.
Viltord and Trezeguet.
But it had the opposite effect, didn't it? Actually, teams didn't attack. They sat back.
That was the only time that happened, pretty much. It always just went to pens.
Do you remember the silver goal?
Oh my God, what was the silver goal?
Silver goal was, you still play the whole of extra time, but if you scored first and it ended up in a draw, you were the winners.
That's mental.
You think some of the rules we have now are bad? Do you think VAR is bad? Silver goal was about as bad as you could get.
Honestly, that is mental. Oh, apparently Lungani says Lautaro is cooking. I'm not keeping eyes on Inter, but he is my Serie A fantasy captain, so I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, Lautaro, Chelsea could have had Lautaro, mate. I mean, literally, I know people close to Lautaro from a representative perspective, and I know he would have done it, mate. And they just didn't follow up the interest, and they didn't feel like he was what they needed as a number 9. Lautaro scored twice so far tonight. They're 3-0 up against Lecce. Lautaro's taken his game to another level this season.
Since the World Cup final, pretty much.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. There you go. Chris Marshall says silver goal ended after 105 minutes if there was a leader. Oh yeah, that's right. If you were winning at half time, you'd scored. That was right. I knew there was something like that. Very good. Thanks, Chris, for a correction.
How many games are rounded up now in extra time? Like when it goes to extra time, we all automatically go, it's half an hour and then we're going to see pens. I genuinely, another one which actually I benefited from. Italy beat Germany in the World Cup semis 2006 in their own backyard in Munich. In extra time, Grosso and Del Piero. Other than that, I can't think of too many extra time winners.
Yeah, it's true. It's a weird thing, extra time. No one enjoys it. No one likes it.
They're at risk as well, aren't they?
Stupid. Yeah. But yeah, and Mark says he never even watches penalty shootouts. It doesn't really feel like. I mean, it's obviously a big moment and a big sense, but it doesn't feel like a real win in some way. I remember when that Chelsea Man United Cup final, Champions League final, and Terry slipped and everything. I remember afterwards, obviously I was pleased that Chelsea didn't win it, but
especially as United fans,
it still doesn't feel like a proper win. Maybe they should just do replays again. Anyway, let's see what else we've got dropping into the comments. A lot of people actually talking about the golden goal, saying maybe they should bring it back. Michael said after 90 minutes straight to pens with managers taking kicks would be more fun. Yeah, or they could play extra time and do like Americanize it, where you have to take off a player every 5 minutes or something, and slowly you get down to like 5v5 on a full-size pitch. That might make it a bit more interesting. Let us know how.
Wait, do you remember when the Americans did their shootouts? It were, instead of penalties, they were one-on-ones from the halfway line.
From the halfway line. Yeah. Did you ever see Goalie Wars? Did you ever see that? You ever seen Goalie Wars?
No.
Oh, mate, if you have never seen Goalie Wars, go on YouTube today. They actually brought it back recently because it had a bit of a life back in it on YouTube. And they used to have this competition. So, like, in every American sport, they'll have a special day when you just have contests with players against players. Well, they had Goalie Wars, where you'd basically have the two goals, but bring them in closer. And the goalies would basically smash balls. There'd be one where you're throwing it at each other to get it in. One where you're just doing goal kicks like out of your hand and trying to smash it past the other goalkeeper. Yeah, Goalie Wars. It's a vibe. Go and check it out if you haven't. Especially if you're a Chelsea fan, it might cheer you up tonight to watch a bit of that with a glass of wine or something. Chelsea's goalkeeper could have been a shootout hero, I presume it's supposed to say. Mate, Petrovic is a good goalkeeper. Chelsea are going to look to sign a new number 1 in the summer. I've been told. And Ramsdale is definitely a contender for that. But I feel a bit sorry for Petrovic because he really couldn't have done much more. Sean says, "Gee, you must be so embarrassed. How are you losing?"
No, Sean, I'm really not though, Sean. Like, I'm annoyed, but I don't think I'll ever be embarrassed by my team losing. Like, if I played for Chelsea, or maybe if I was part of the coaching team, maybe there'd be some embarrassment. But as a fan, dude, nah.
Surprised you've shown up, mate. Let us know what else has jumped out at you from the weekend. There were other games. I mean, I'd like to know how many people ended up watching the second half of Wolves v Sheffield United today. Not many. I did bring in Hwang. I also brought in Gross, and I decided to take a -4. I just found out as we were starting, I was like, I really regret it. Nothing really came from it. And then I heard that Gross actually got 3 bonus points. So Gross has actually ended up on 7 points. Hwang gets 3 points. So actually, it kind of.
Did you take that?
Yeah, I take that. Like in a bad week like this. Yeah, exactly.
But did anyone in the chat let me know, follow my advice from early in the week where I kept banging on my channel about Leon Bailey, and I said I was going to buy Bailey, and I got caught up. I'm ashamed to. I am embarrassed about this one, Sean. You'll be pleased about this one, Sean. I'm embarrassed that I bought Hwang because I succumbed to groupthink, to content creator groupthink, and that I didn't go a few weeks ago on Richarlison when the world and their dog went there. And it did make sense. And I tweeted on Thursday saying, look, I'm disappointed in myself, but I'm going Hwang. And I'm doing it because, well, yeah, maybe he's the sensible choice. But I'm also doing it because it's a defensive play.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough one. I mean, when you get caught up in that mentality, like, I kept talking about other options that I was looking at, and I genuinely was looking at Bowen, wasn't I, as bringing someone in. And in the end, I really did go for Hwang just because I got the feeling that that's what everyone else was doing, and I was going to regret it. I just saw a good comment from somebody. Yeah, here it is, Zodiac DK. Sorry, Adam, I'll get onto you in a second. Zodiac says, I went for Douglas Luiz and got 15 points. Fair play, Zodiac. That is a great call. Well done for going with your gut rather than the crowd. Adam says, how bad is Salah injury? Do you think he will be back for Forest? Well, I imagine we'll get an update on that tonight/tomorrow because Klopp, amid all the cup celebrations, will be asked about Núñez and Salah and Szoboszlai and whoever else is now injured, Gravenberch. And just an update on where we are, how close were those players to actually making it? I think we'll get more of that information tonight. But obviously, there was a possibility that Salah was going to come into contention today. I was surprised that none of them made it, I have to say. Liverpool really are depleted at the moment, and it's tricky to know what to do with their assets. There have been a few people in the chat I've noticed. Don't worry, I'm not ignoring you, but I mentioned Branthwaite and getting him in. Well done. Andrew says he got a Branthwaite into his team, so that's nice. Somebody else mentioning it too, so well done for shouting that out. Sean says the Hwang hype was crazy. Was always going to blank with all those transfers in. Yeah, fair enough. Lemon's got both Douglas Luiz and Aït-Nourian for a -4. That has to be the best -4 you could have done this week.
That is a huge win.
That's a massive win. That's as big as you could have got, isn't it?
Fair play. Like, for those going Douglas Luiz as well, like, just such a good pick, quite clearly.
That's just not listening to any noise either. Like, if you're somebody that does actually consume content on FPL and then you've watched it all, listened to it all and gone, nah, I'm going Aït-Nourian and Douglas Luiz. Fair play to you for having your own sense of mind.
Oh, I've just looked at my DM history with Chai from early in the week, and I've literally screen grabbed it and posted it on Twitter. Chai, you won't mind. Where Chai says to me, this is like legit. He says, "Are you thinking Bailey too?" Because he saw my tweet, and I said, "Yeah, I'm probably locked on that." To be fair, like, we were both so big on Leon Bailey, and both of us.
Why did you put on it? Because of the crowd.
Yeah. Which is so usually.
Did Chai do it?
No, Chai didn't do it either. We both bottled it, mate. We are billionaire bottle jobs.
You billionaire, are you? No wonder you're off on holiday.
We're FPL billionaires because we're like, well, no, that was my point. They're definitely not a money thing. What would you do with KDB in your team? this all comes down. I think it's Tuesday, maybe Wednesday to Tuesday night. What minutes does De Bruyne get? How does City look? This is a fixture historically. De Bruyne, well, he does well, but we saw a quote from Pep a couple of days ago where he said something about struggling to get Foden and De Bruyne in the same team in their best positions, which we know now. Foden's role clearly is that De Bruyne role. It's going to be interesting. I think there's a chance. I definitely sell De Bruyne before I sell Foden, that's for sure. And I own both.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
Do I keep all the triple up with Haaland for the Manchester derby? Maybe I give him one more week and then sell him ahead of Liverpool. I don't know.
Yeah, there's an amazing picture at the moment. I've just seen it on Twitter posted, and it's like 3 of the young Liverpool players from today, just the 3 of them standing there with the trophy. And honestly, I reckon like no one will know who they are. Like, look at this image. See if it works. If I can get a good angle here.
Oh yeah, they ball boys.
Like literally, like that picture's going to be if like more than 10% of people could name 2 of those players, I'll be, or any of them actually. Let me know if you would know who those players are that played for Liverpool today and beat Chelsea
Did they get on
in
the
a
pitch?
cup final. They were all playing, mate. Yeah, they all played.
Oh, well, one of them's is Neil Danz's son, because that's all they kept saying on 5 Live. Jadon Danz's up front. Dad used to play for Palace.
This is him. He's the guy in the middle. Yeah, he's the one who ended up playing number 9 for Liverpool. Yeah.
The other one must be Clark, because they kept banging on about the fact he was stolen from the Newcastle Academy or Sunderland Academy.
Bobby Clark, was he? I don't know too much about. I have heard of him, and I've heard he's actually a really good player. Didn't obviously expect him to be playing in the cup final, but I think one of them could be him.
Is it Kwanzaa?
Well, it could be James McConnell though, because he came on as well, and I didn't know who he was. McConnell's next to him. Yeah, I thought it might be Adam. Yeah, I think one of them was McConnell. It's just crazy. Zodiac says it's Dan, Clark, and McConnell. Oh, okay, fair enough.
Jason Kumas's son was on the bench.
He's not even a footballer. He's just related to Jason Kumas, and they just wanted to for a laugh against this team.
What a load of rubbish. Guys,
he was on the bench.
Hit the like and subscribe button, will you? I don't know. Are we not on 10 likes? Are we? I need to refresh. Surely we've got more than 10. Oh, good.
I'd like to think we got a few more than that, mate. Yeah, I've got 78 on mine, so we're doing all right. Our numbers have dropped a bit since we started the show, so maybe we've bored a few people talking about your love of Arsenal and how you've stopped supporting Chelsea.
Let's talk FPL captaincy for game week 27.
Yeah,
I am in a Premier Inn. That is a fantastic shout, animations. Let's do a captaincy poll for Haaland, Saka, Watkins. Like, they're the 3 go-to or best options, I think, this week. You can throw, Solanke in the mix if you want to do a 4th. But Haaland's a really big conversation this week. Do you think?
Look,
he'll get a rest against Luton, because he has had a lot of games since he's been back.
He could also bang in goals, couldn't he, and get him back to where he needs to be. I mean, Pretty says Haaland hates United. Easy captain choice. This is it. Like, Haaland will be so hyped for that game. It's hard to take the captaincy off him, but obviously Arsenal are playing Sheffield United, who regularly lose 5-0 at home, and Arsenal are regularly smashing teams. So go and have a 5-0 bet on Arsenal, and if Arsenal score 5 goals, chances are Saka is back among them. My against the obvious, unfortunately, didn't quite work out for me on that one. And Aston Villa play Luton away 5:30 on a Saturday. I actually think that's a tricky game for Aston Villa. I don't think I'll be going with Watkins on that one. I don't think I would. Don't know. It's tricky, isn't it? Because Luton do still concede goals even when they do well, don't they? Actually?
Yeah, they do. All the games against top teams have been 4-3 or 4-2 or 3-2.
Yeah, Tottenham, Crystal Palace. I mean, we didn't really get a good chance to know what Crystal Palace are about under Glasner. I mean, they've beaten 10-man Burnley convincingly, but Burnley down to 10 men after half an hour.
And it took them a while to score.
Yeah, and it's Josh Brown here was a really key part of that Burnley team, and if they do go down, he'll be one of the few, I think, actually, that will have another Premier League team come in for him and actually probably stay in the league. Yeah, I think there'll be enough interest in and around him. But yeah, 3-0 win for Crystal Palace, but really difficult to know like if that what kind of bounce back that was, because Burnley were depleted so early on in the game.
What about Spurs, Dean? They haven't played they wouldn't have played in 2 weeks because they're not in the FA Cup, I don't think. So they're not playing midweek. They didn't have a fixture this week. So Spurs would have had 2 weeks between fixtures. And the last game, Richarlison got hooked at 70.
Yeah.
Do you think Son is like potentially going to get some time playing number 9 again? Like,
definitely,
because if he does, like, I want Son in my team.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Son. I didn't take him out this week. I've kept him with that in mind, to be honest. I think Son will be back to being the 9 for Tottenham. He needed a break. You know, he's obviously had an international tournament. This will be of benefit to him. Spurs, we'll have to wait and see what the other team news is. I mean, well, I can't remember what the Porro outlook was when he missed the last match for them. But I don't think, as far as I can remember, to remind me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't think it was a long-termer. So there's opportunities like that too. And, you know, for my team right now, if I get Son and Porro back in the mix for a game against Crystal Palace at home, I'm over that, to be honest. FPL Freddy, I think I'm going Richarlison to Son this game week. CH says thoughts on Maddison. Maddison has not been the same player in recent times at all. Not the guy that we saw in the first stage of the season, has he?
I don't know. It's hard to say because that one game back, like, yeah, I think he's only had 1 start or maybe 2 starts since his injury. So maybe he needed that 2 weeks. But yeah, he definitely hasn't quite looked the same. The haircut's a little bit ropey in my opinion as well. Got the little mullet. Yeah, I think we wait and see. I mean, the reason we all love Spurs is those of us that aren't looking to free hit in game week 29 go, Spurs have got a fixture. So you can buy Spurs now that you get Crystal Palace at home. Then I think it's Aston Villa away, and then it's a blank game week where Spurs play. So many of us will have double, if not triple Spurs. Son would be my number 1 pick, probably followed by Richarlison on current form. But if I see something against Palace which suggests Richarlison is not nailed or isn't nailed for more than 60, 70 minutes, Maddison, at least when he's on the pitch, you know he's a 90-minute man. And his form was so good earlier in the season. He was adding goals and assists to his game. He's got the England sort of carrot there as well.
Yeah.
By the way, that game week 29 might have more fixtures than we think. When we look at, we're relying on upsets. Could Blackburn beat Newcastle? Yeah, they could. Could Leeds beat Chelsea? Absolutely. Like, if Leeds beat Chelsea, no one's going to need to free hit in 29 because Chelsea versus Arsenal goes ahead. And we've all got at least double Arsenal. Some have got triple. Maybe Palmer as well. That's 3, 4, 5 players for some managers. Just if Arsenal-Chelsea goes ahead, I reckon Leeds on current form could beat Chelsea, even though I think it's at the Bridge. I don't think that matters.
It's at the Bridge, mate. But Leeds are going to be bringing thousands.
Yeah,
and Leeds have. I don't know if you saw the scenes when they beat Leicester the other day.
It's amazing. I wanted to reshare that. I forgot to. So cool.
Ellen Ode was rocking. That team is really in a groove at the moment. Chelsea and Leeds hate each other. Stamford Bridge, the atmosphere. My mates are season ticket holders are like, the place has not been this flat in years and years and years.
Yeah,
they're like those of us that have been going for years are kind of just like a bit miserable. And there are so many day trippers now at Chelsea that the atmosphere is just flat. You get nothing inside there. And Leeds are going to be raucous, and they're going to fancy the chances of absolutely rattling this Chelsea team that have just lost to Klopp's kids. The billionaire bottle jobs are going to be out of the FA Cup as well. I'll tell you what, I don't know how that reflects on Pochettino if he does lose that as well. I mean, that Man City performance is going to feel like a lifetime ago if they do lose to Leeds. But I'm
all right about us losing. At least we get a fixture in 29. We're not going to win the FA Cup anyway. And Arsenal, you know, I might go support Arsenal in the FA Cup. Shame they're out as well.
Chris says, I hope Leeds beat Chelsea, then come to Huddersfield on Saturday and lose. Yeah, I can see that, Chris. I can see that. That's exactly the sort of thing.
I've sat next to my father-in-law today at Cam's nan's 90th birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he's a Leeds fan. He's from Leeds, and he is absolutely flying. He was like, "We're better than we were last year." Like,
yeah, they are feeling like that.
They look good.
Mate, a couple of weeks ago, Southampton looked really good, though. I thought Southampton
and then Ipswich before that.
Yeah, it does change like that in the Championship.
Yeah.
And Southampton have now hit the rocks a bit, and that will happen to Leeds too because they're not that good. Like they're not like unbeatable. So it is worth looking out for that. Luke says -4 Foden and Cunha to Solanke and Son, and only have Haaland versus United. That seems brave to be taking Foden out right now.
I would say Foden is the one guy at Man City, and I wouldn't encourage selling an Ake or a Walker or a Haaland either. But you can't sell Foden, dude. He's flying. Like Foden's probably going to be in my team now till game week 38. Like I'd have to see it. Like he scored, is it 16, 17 Premier League goals from open play this season?
No, there aren't actually that many reliable picks. I don't even know how reliable Man City are right now. I mean, I haven't really. I need to dig into that fixture again properly. I watched it on face value, but I kind of want to rewatch that Man City game and just see like how it reads second time back, how good they are. Like, was it a good narrow win? Like, were there any traits to it that I've missed that do make it an impressive win? Because I don't know, it's really hard to judge at the moment these teams that are in the title race, and I am overly critical on Arsenal all the time because I continue to believe that team runs on emotion and that could. It's great when the going's good, and I feel like that can overcome them. Like you see how rattled Arteta gets, and there's going to be moments in the season when that spills out again. And if things aren't going well, and they still have a bit of naivety about them. So I'm always on top of them for that, and I always give City the benefit of the doubt because I'm like, it's Man City, isn't it? But when you're looking at a team that has new players in there. Like Nunez and Kovacic, and they're not playing at their best, and Haaland isn't scoring goals. They're not the monster that they once were. So I do need to start becoming a little bit more critical of them and not just putting their players in my team for the sake of it.
The problem with selling Haaland, though, is he's still been getting the chances. If he was frozen out of games and City weren't producing for him, you'd go, yeah, he's a sell. But the fact that the chances are falling his way, like he had 1.7 XG in that double game week where he only got one goal, or maybe 2.7, I can't remember. But I was just looking the last 4 games, comparing Haaland and Saka. Haaland in the last 4 games has had like 3.5 XG. Saka's actually had 4. And Saka's had 6 goals to Haaland's 3. So it's really interesting when we talk about captaincy. Firstly, I think Haaland has to stay in our teams. But secondly, I think Saka for captaincy has to become a really legit option. Like 39% in that poll we did said Saka, 53% Haaland. But I mean, who is the better fixture? I'm not so sure because Saka's is away from home, Haaland's is at home. But Saka is clocking higher XG than the guy we're all saying is getting a ton and missing all these chances, and that's Haaland. Saka also gets a point for a clean sheet. He also gets an extra point for a goal. I don't know. Saka is definitely in my thoughts this game week. It's just the thing that stops me, I guess, is that it's away from home, and Haaland at Etihad against United, knowing how good Fulham were or how they made Fulham look like prime Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, watching Arsenal across that first half hour last night, I was like, oh my God, they are just camping out in the last third. They are relentless in just trying to get this game put to bed as early as possible. And if they can do that against, I know this isn't the best version of Newcastle at the moment, but they're still way better than Sheffield United are. And, Chris Wilder, I see and they had an occurrence today that's caused him to lose his mind again, and he's making all sorts of comments. So I need to go and watch that properly back. But this Sheffield United team is there for the taking. Aston Villa, Bozzy, Sheffield United are terrible at home. They get smashed all the time. They lost 5-0 in the last 2, and they lost 8-0 to Newcastle. Exactly. I don't think, put it this way, I would not be doing against the obvious on Saka for this match. I wouldn't be brave enough to do it this time around.
Yeah. I do think if I'm selling De Bruyne, like it's a lot are asking about De Bruyne. If you're selling De Bruyne and you don't own Saka or Foden, you go there. But let's assume people own these players. Who are the best De Bruyne replacements? Because I think, and I quite like the fact that he didn't produce a return yesterday. I think Odegaard is still one that could be up there. The Arsenal fixtures are really, really good. Havertz, again, like whether Havertz is playing number 9 or let's say Jesus or Trossard is playing there, Havertz is still in the 11. And the way Havertz is playing at the minute, maybe he's a differential punt, but you could definitely look to the Arsenal midfield if you've got that spot available. And elsewhere, I think you look at Villa. We should probably chat about Leon Bailey because Douglas Luiz, sure, is a really good option. He's got the set piece threat, scored a couple of goals from open play. But the way Leon Bailey and Watkins are combining, Dean, that looks pretty tasty too, that partnership.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, Villa do seem to be back cooking again after having a little bit of a waiver. It's a strong display to go and score 4 goals against Nottingham Forest. And I'm just trying to load up here to just check. Yeah, they don't keep clean sheets really, Aston Villa, but they do get the job done, and they've scored 8 goals in their last 3 games. No, sorry, 7. And watching them when they played against Fulham a couple of weeks ago and they came to town, like I think I mentioned then about the little pockets of space that Leon Bailey gets into, and he's so difficult to pick up because the fullback will shuffle, but is scared to just go that extra 2 steps because he's exposed in behind. And Leon Bailey just takes his time before he gets in there. And obviously, like that skill he's got, that trait of cutting in too, is quite scary. So yeah, they're a tricky animal at the moment, Aston Villa, and they definitely back to more of what we would expect. Pau Torres has been a big change for them and definitely helps them play out the back. He came off at half time and Callum Chambers ended up coming on for him.
Doesn't look good, does it?
That doesn't look good, does it? I mean, Callum Chambers literally has not been seen all season. I honestly don't know if I've seen Callum Chambers play a minute of football this season.
Yeah.
I saw him warming up against Fulham, and I was like, I didn't know he played for Aston Villa.
Let's rank the Aston Villa centre backs in terms. Let's say, all right. So first choice, let's say Pau Torres and Konza. Then you got Diogo Carlos and Longley. They're the 4, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, and then you've got that's the point at which you would be dropping in Chambers to the conversation. I mean, as I say, like, didn't realise he'd stuck it out, to be honest. Powell's flagged
in the Championship at Middlesbrough or something.
Animations says, I hope Powell will be fine for Luton. Honestly, I think he's going to be so important to Villa doing well in the coming weeks. They obviously got a really intriguing Europa Conference game too. They've got Ajax in the next round of that. For Villa, that competition suddenly becomes, one that if they get past Ajax, they can go and win that tournament. And that's a massive statement for Villa to go and win something like that. And they play Tottenham coming up soon. So they've got some tough games after that Luton one. So if Powell isn't ready for that Luton game, they definitely won't risk him. And Faye says, avoid all Villa defenders. They are so injury prone. Oh yeah, TSH said they also have Mings. Don't forget about him. Yeah,
he's 6th choice.
Yeah, because Mings, there was pictures of him recently, and I'm pretty sure he was reasonably close to coming back. Yeah, absolutely mad. Claire says Chambers got subbed on for Powell this weekend. Yeah, that's what I'm saying here. I mean, I didn't realise that he would be the sub for him. A mad moment. And yeah, Henderson will be playing against Aston Villa for Ajax very soon, so that'll be interesting.
That is rogue.
Yeah.
I love the questions about Estupiñán, by the way. Like, I've got no idea. I think he's just a hard sell, but I've got no idea on replacements. Like, Estupiñán was another one, Dean. Did you see? Like, again, he went to De Zerbi's house for pasta. We all hoped that might mean he was getting in the team. There was a leak that said he'd started. That was a load of rubbish. And he came on, I think, with about half an hour to go this time. The week before was like 8 minutes. But Estupiñán's a hard sell. But until we know what our chip strategy is, and until we know what players play in 29, and we'll know that on Thursday, it's hard to suggest a replacement, because many were looking at the likes of Pau Torres, but without Kamara and without some of those centre backs, the likes of Mings and Konza and Diego Carlos, they're just weaker at the back, and a very good defence at the start of the season. Villa now don't look like one. So
yeah, no,
Tomori.
Nori, yeah, absolutely. Ming's out for the season. Oh, right, I didn't realise it was looking like that. Anyway, let's move on. We're on to the last
our
5
teams.
10 minutes. Yeah, let's look at our teams and see. Are we doing our teams? Are we? Is that where we're at?
I think we've got our points.
We've got them up. We've got our points up already, haven't we?
Yeah. So 33 for you so far.
Yeah, I think that might have gone up.
To be added, though.
I think that's gone up a bit. Yeah, I have got more than 33 at this point. And yeah, I did take a minus 4.
A point.
Lascelles got a point. I know. Surprised me too, mate. That's literally
Walker returned, didn't he?
A bonus point.
Oh, Walker no, Walker didn't play.
Walker didn't play. That's what I mean. Walker, and I had 3 Man City assets play against Bournemouth, and 2 of them don't even get anything. Like, unbelievable. De Bruyne does actually get some minutes and gets a yellow card. The only thing he done all game.
And he could have scored in the last final seconds, and he just air kicked it. And that would have been a Foden assist. De Bruyne goal would have gone mental.
Seriously. Zodiac got 73 points this week. That almost feels impossible. What on earth? Is this from that? It was the only one that had Ait Nori and Louise in the double up. Must have been. Peter got 75 with Areola to play. TSH got 65. Adams got 65.
No way.
I'm not feeling good about myself right now.
You only pipe up on you if you're on a good game week, though, don't you? No one in the chat's coming. I got 28 points.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't do too bad, did you? I mean, you're in the 50s, aren't you?
I don't know. I think I'm in the 40s. I'm not so sure. Let's check. I'm on a red arrow. That's all I know. Like I'm 49.
49. I mean, that seems quite good to me.
Yeah, and I've got Areola to play. I love it. Like, it's loads, myself included, being like 49 with Areola to play. It's like, it's Areola. You ain't getting more than 2. And it's not Sheffield United at home, by the way. That the graphic's slightly out there. So Areola doesn't play Sheffield United, plays Brentford at home, which means Tony is scoring, and it means Areola's getting 2 points best case.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get my team off the screen now. Get onto G's. G's might be a bit more interesting. Oh, here you go with yours now.
Yeah, I took a -4 as well. So when you take a hit, you need a high scoring game week if you're taking hits. I could have taken a -8. I saw the leak that De Bruyne wasn't starting, and I just said, no, I'm keeping him. He'll come off the bench. He's not going all the way down to Bournemouth to get no minutes.
He went down there for fish and chips, I think, mate.
He got 10 and an air shot. Load of rubbish. Stupidan to a doji, says Luke. Yeah, maybe. Like, again, depending on who else plays in 29 and what my chip strategy is, I wouldn't be opposed to looking at a doji. I do think in the last month, if him and Porro are both fit and available, and I think Ange probably tells us, I actually prefer a doji because he saves you $1 million.
Yeah.
And he's been playing slightly better in open play, I think, than Porro in terms of his individual form. Chai, let us know in the chat which one you'd go for, a doji or Porro, if you're selling a Stupidan. Chai is obviously a Man City fan, and one of Chai's favourite players is Sonny. I'm guessing he's looking at that move as well. Guys, let us know if you like these Sunday night streams. I mean, I don't think they're necessarily going to be a regular thing, but just let us know regardless. We will not be streaming tomorrow, but Big Man and I will be back from Wednesday at 1 o'clock. I'll hopefully be poolside in Dubai for that one if I can get good enough internet. Dean, talk to me about your you being out and about this weekend, because about a month ago I asked you, have you seen any footballers recently? Because you live in footballer territory for some of the Fulham or Chelsea players, and you've bumped into players at barbers and supermarkets and stuff like that. When was the last time you saw a pro footballer? Because I've not asked you this question for a while.
It was on Saturday, and my little boy got starstruck for the first time and absolutely froze. Oh. We were in Sainsbury's.
Can the chat have guesses on this? Can we all guess? Can you give us clues?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's not many Fulham players that wouldn't have been at Old Trafford, I guess, because the team were playing at 3 o'clock, and we were in Sainsbury's at 2 o'clock. So we popped out, and I was like, right, we'll get some shopping, boys. We'll jump into Costa. We'll have a bit of lunch in there. Then we get back and watch Fulham Man United. And we were in Sainsbury's, and I looked up and I was like, is that who I think it is? And then I said to Dylan, my 6-year-old, who obviously comes to the Fulham matches with me, I was like, I think there's a Fulham player in here. He's like, what? Is it Kearney? Is it Kearney? And like, he loves Tom Kelly. I was like, it's not Tom Kelly. No, he's literally like probably warming up right now at United. Mitrovic, stop it, CH. Don't pull on the heartstrings. Don't pull on the heartstrings. But yeah, I was like, no, it's Raul Jimenez.
Oh, Michael
and he
got
does
that.
like Raul Jimenez. Yeah, a few I've jumped in with Raul, so I thought I could probably drop it. And he was like, it's funny how much he stood out actually, and the reasons he stood out straight away, right? He looked richer than everybody else.
He smell $1 million.
All he was wearing, right, was a brown. He had a brown like matching tracksuit on, like hoodie, and like these nice Nike trainers which like matched his tracksuit, right? But he had like a sharp haircut. He's obviously like 6 foot odd, like well built, and like the funniest thing about it, right? He had this shopping trolley which was immaculately packed. He had like 5 of his own like bags that he brought like in the shopping trolley and in sections. And like, mate, it was the healthiest shop I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, you checking out what's in there?
Well, I could see, like, he was like literally loading blueberries into it like nobody's business. His shop honestly must have been about 400 quid with stuff he was putting in there. And then I saw him in the vegetables. Sainsbury's, yeah. And then he was loading all the veg in. Then he was doing loads of chicken later on. But so at the first I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure it was him. Or wait, if we see it. And look, both my kids were wearing Fulham kits at the time. Anyway, and he comes around the corner, and Dylan, he's like, he's properly like head down. He's like, Dad, don't say hello to him. Don't say hello to him. I was like, come on, Dylan, you can say hello to him, like even if you just wave.
Yeah.
Honestly, I couldn't. He would have cried. I literally couldn't do it. And Raul obviously spotted him in their Fulham kits, and he kind of just like gave a nod and like a smirk, and I was like, I'll just leave him. His poor bloke's doing his shopping in Sainsbury's. I'm not gonna, and then people are gonna think it's weird, and other people might go over to him. So I wouldn't really go up to someone anyway. But yeah, it was 100%.
Yeah, but when you got young kids, you can get away with it. Like I'm with you. Like I can't go over to a footballer in a supermarket, but if I guess that I had a child that I thought wanted to the photo, I could. But I get you couldn't on that situation.
Yeah, I would if he had a different attitude to it. And I said to him, look, he always talks about, oh, can you sort out? Because he obviously knows like my job is and that I know people. He's like, can you sort it out so I can meet Tom Kearney? Like I need to get his autograph. Not if you do that. No, we're going to look ridiculous.
You put in all the strings, like asking favors.
I was like, I can make you mascot if you want, but not if you. He's like, I don't want to be mascot. He like really doesn't want to be mascot.
Oh, bless him.
I know, it was quite funny. Very good, Linus. What did he buy? Cottage cheese, Craven cottage cheese. Yeah, very good. I think it was about the only thing he didn't buy. To be fair, the amount of stuff that was loaded in there.
I love that was his basket, his trolley, and then you were like, he was down the chicken aisle later. It's like, oh, you had another look.
We did have another look. So I was like, let's see if Dylan does want to meet him, because I was kind of wanted to get a picture of him with him, because it's an easy get. Dean was starstruck. I do think it's fun when I see a footballer. I do. It's much more fun than when you see him in a football environment.
Yeah. These are actual human beings that go to the supermarket.
Oh wow, he's buying blueberries and chicken. Obviously now I've got a fridge full of blueberry and chicken, just hoping that I can look like Raul Jimenez one day.
Well, it's funny you say that about him looking $1 million. I do always think that, like, he could just be in a standard tracksuit with a pair of fresh Nikes, fair play. Like, but that's a lot of people, and they don't look like footballers, but they just have that something often. And Raul Jimenez, I can see being one of those.
He probably has his hair cut every 3 days.
And he looked like a standard punter, but Raul Jimenez different, you know?
Yeah, this is the thing. You hear about I speak to like celebrity barbers, and like footballers literally have their hair cut every 2 or 3 days. It's like absurd. Like they're that bored that they just have a fresh trim every few. Like the hair doesn't barely even grown at all in that moment. Rich Hill says the last football I saw was at driving range. Steve Agrizovic.
Oh, Coventry City legend.
There is barely anyone, Rich, in this chat that is going to have any idea who Steve Agrizovic is.
Was he the keeper in like mid-90s?
Coventry City keeper, yeah. He had a nose made of plasticine, I think, by the end. I think it was broken so many times. I just remember he had a bit of a smashed up face, Steve Agrizovic, through the years.
But he played professional cricket as well.
Did he?
According to his Wikipedia.
I didn't know that. A few of the CGA squad do know who Steve Agrizovic is, so we've got a few older ones in here. That's good to see. FPL Freddie, Mika Richards pays like £200 3 times a week for his hair. Like, what a waste of money, but what an easy get for that barber. Like, that is the easiest money, like, ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, ridiculous. I guess some people's hair needs a fresher trim than ours, mate, but I don't think I'd need that. Even once a month sometimes seems a bit excessive. Adam saw Wenger in Waitrose a few months.
And he was like, I've not seen you in 6 weeks. Where you been? And I was like, yeah, I usually go every 4 or 5, but I'll happily leave at 6, 7 if I need to.
Yeah, I can save myself 20 quid. Saw Wenger in Waitrose a few months ago. Had to ask politely and discreetly for a quick photo as a massive Arsenal fan. He wasn't too friendly. But this is why. It's because they are, once one's done, everyone's looking. And suddenly, Wenger's 20-minute shot to Waitrose could take him an hour and 20 minutes. That's why they're not happy, and they hate it. I've spoken to a few people before, and they're just like, just don't do it to us. Like, if you see someone and they're out in the wild, just try to leave them be. Especially, unless they're already in the midst of it all, don't be that guy. Don't be the first one that goes and does it.
FPL Bruno saw Jeff Hurst walking out of Coral before in Cheltenham. FPL Bruno, I didn't know you lived in Cheltenham. I went to uni there, and I know exactly where you mean. Chai is a hairdresser on the side.
Yes, he is. Absolutely. I don't know if he earns £200 every 3 days from the same client, though. Not sure he's at that point yet. Good luck to you, though, Chai. That is the clientele you need. I just realised we are past 7 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
We're just sat here chatting about celebs. Yeah. G's got work to do, and he's got a flight to get.
Yeah. All right. Sweet. Guys, before you leave, do us a favour. There's loads of lurkers out there, and we love our lurkers. But not all the lurkers are subscribed. So if you fancy hitting that subscribe button, that'd be amazing. Oh, Bruno, yeah, that was exactly where I went. We'll have to chat. I was at Pitville. For now, though, we will be back on Wednesday. Dean and I will also be back on Friday. Stay tuned, because Friday's stream is going to be absolutely off the charts. We're going to be reacting to the FA Cup, which means I'm going to be telling you all on Friday what my chip strategy is. And I'm still on 3 different scenarios. By Thursday, Friday, it will be locked in. So tune into Friday's show for that. And I won't be streaming on my channel on Thursday, Friday. So it will be exclusively on CGA with that chip strategy, which will be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam says this stream has been 20% FPL, 40% Chelsea, and 40% celeb spotting. It was a one-off, Adam. What can I say? We did answer loads of questions today, so I don't feel too bad. And there's some funny messages dropping in now from Dan and Claire and people in the comments about their celebrity spots. So do read those before you all leave. But yeah, thanks everyone for turning up on a Sunday evening. I'm going to go and give my kids a bath and an early bedtime, I think.
Oh, good man. Good stuff. All right, team. I will see you later. For now, he's been Dean. You lot have been the amazing chasers. Thank you, as always, for your support. I've been Janny, and we've been chasing green arrows. See you later.